right, guys, well, welcome again to Sukkot. This is Thursday night, and we're here once again to hear of the deep mysteries in the Word of the Lord. And we just are so thankful to have John Kostick here again to lead us through so that we can see more of those mysteries. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, John Kostick.
Working? Okay. Welcome again. This is night 5 of 8. Tonight we're going to do Psalm 23, and let's get started. This one has a title. Some of them have titles, some of them doesn't. This one says Mizmor David. Or Mizmor La David, I guess it should actually read. And let me just, let's go through the title here. This word Mizmor, it comes from the verb zamar. There's a zayin, mem, resh. The word zamar means to sing praises to the Lord. Okay? And in Hebrew, this is something that I've learned recently, if you take a verb and put a mem in front of it, the verb becomes a noun. So, if you have zamar and you put a mem in front, it's mizmor, which is now a melody. Okay? And then La David, the lamed, that's of, and then there's David, Dalet, Vav, Dalet. Okay? By the way, David, his name is adds up to 14. The Dalet is 4, Vav is 6, Dalet is 4. And that 14, that's there were 14 generations from Abraham to David, and then David until captivity was 14 generations, and then from captivity until Messiah was 14. 3 14s is 42. And that's the Messiah's number, 42, because he's 6 times 7. 6 is man's number, 7 is God's number, 42. Messiah is God and man. If I put in the gematria for all the title, are you ready? I was very shocked when this came up. It adds up to 337, which there's your 3s and 7s, right? And 337 happens to be a Star of David number. So how nice is that David wrote this psalm, and the title will generate a Star of David or a Mogan David. Mogan is you've heard of Mogan David? I think it's a wine. Mogan means star. Mogan David is Star of David wine. So, isn't that cool? You know how long it takes to color in those stars? Yeah, it takes a long time. So I want you no copy and paste. Okay, and now we're going to actually read the psalm. It's only 6 verses, and you're probably familiar with most of this. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I think we are familiar with that, right? But when I started tearing it apart Hebraically, there's a lot of stuff that's not exactly right in here. The new version's not as poetic sounding, but it's correct. Okay, so here it is in the Hebrew. And for the most part tonight, we're going to leave out the heading, the title. So let's start with verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That's only 4 words in Hebrew. And you should know some of these, or you will soon. The first word is Yahweh, Yud He Vav He, which is usually translated Lord, capital L, capital O, capital R, capital D. It stands for Yahweh, you know. And Yahweh, the Yud He Vav He, that is, you know, each letter has a meaning. Yud is hand. He is a little man with his hand in the air. Wow, a revelation. Something will be revealed. A Vav is a nail. And then another revelation, another revealing. So Yahweh's name, Yud He Vav He, is the hand reveals, the nail reveals. So that kind of gives you a hint as to who Yahweh is. He really sounds like Yeshua, right? Hand reveals, nail reveals. You know, we've seen all the incredible stuff God hides in the book. And he didn't see that. You know, the Jews say, Jesus is not God, Jesus is not the Messiah. Well, why did he pick the name Yud He Vav He that points to someone hanging on a cross? You know, it is what it is. So there, Yud He Vav He. So now we got the first word of Psalm 23. And how does it start? The Lord is my shepherd. And we know from the New Testament, Yeshua said, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. We also see in John 10:14, I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me. So Yahweh is Yeshua. Okay, next word is Roi. And by the way, we are not going to cover every word. I only know about 20 words in this psalm, so we're probably not going to do more than 20. But I picked out words that I have noticed show up a lot in my beginning Hebrew learning. You know, there's just certain ruach. You should know and recognize ruach, spirit. You should know Yahweh for sure. And little words like all and of and in, those are helpful whenever you're learning. They've been helpful to me. So those are the ones we're going to point out. Roi is shepherd. It's actually my shepherd because it ends in a yod. Whenever a word ends in yod, yod, remember, is hand, and it's the closed hand, and it's my shepherd. Okay? So shepherd is, oh, and by the way, sheep need a shepherd. You know, I don't know if you've ever been around sheep. Oh, and they're docile. You can put your finger in their mouth. They will not chomp down on it. They're just docile. And I've spent a lot of time in New Zealand. We went on sheep musters, and here, this is an old picture, but they don't fight, they don't resist. They're just dumb and docile.
I tell you, the church sheep do bite sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. But the actual word for shepherd is Ra'ah. But whenever you want to say my shepherd, you drop that last letter and put a yod on it, so it's my shepherd, okay?
Okay, then the Lord is my shepherd.
The letters that make up Ra'ah There's a resh. Resh is the head guy, the chief, the top, the head. An ayin is eye. Okay? So it has to do with viewing. And hey is behold. Behold, something's going to be revealed, a blessing or something. So you could actually say a shepherd is that the head man, the head man, the chief, the top guy, his eye beholds. And that's a nice description of a shepherd. He's the top guy, and he's watching all the sheep. The third word is lo. It's a lamed aleph. This one you should know for future stuff because it's the word no or not, okay, in Hebrew. Anyone know what the word yes is? Ken. She lived there for a while. Ken. Yes. Ken is yes. Lo is no. When I go to stay with my friends in Israel, you can hear the kids in the bedroom, and he's yelling to his mother in the kitchen, something in Hebrew long, and then she'll say, Ma! What? Because as kids do, they yell from the other room and you can't hear them. And then when he finally gets the point across, she'll say, Lo! No. So it could be no, it could be not. So, Yahweh, my shepherd, not. And this word, exar, it's one I've never encountered before. I haven't encountered it, so I'm sure it's an important word, but not one that I see a lot. But it means to lack. So, Lord is my shepherd, I'm not lacking. Okay? Yahweh, roi, lo, exar. Not as pretty as the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay. Verse 2. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. The actual Hebrew says, in grass pastures he makes me lie down. Beside still waters he leads me. So the order is, they switched it around. Not a big deal. I think the message still gets across. We'll look at some of these words here. Notice the first word begins with a bet. And what does a bet represent in front of a word? It is a house, but it's a preposition in, right? Like bereshit, in beginning. Okay? So it's going to be in pastures. Whatever that word pastures is, not one that I know. I hesitate trying to pronounce words I don't know because I don't want to pronounce them wrong. So it's in pastures. This is deshah. Deshah is the Hebrew word for grass. It's not the same as the word for green. So it is in in grass pastures, not in green pastures. He makes me lie down. Notice this is this word right here. What does it begin with? It begins with a yod. And whenever you put a yod in front of a verb, it's he is doing whatever the verb is doing. Okay? So it's he makes me to lie down. Beside is al. You will see this little word here a lot in Hebrew. Al, beside. Waters, me. We know water is mayim, right? Mem, yud, mem. But when you pluralize it, you would put a yud, mem, but for some reason, and I don't know all the grammatic rules, they drop the mem, and me becomes waters, plural. Yeah. And so they drop the mem, and it becomes waters. Besides waters, still, he leads me. Verse 3, He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for the sake of his name. He restores my soul. Here it says, my soul he restores. But we're gonna do it in the English. He restores is first. And notice he restores. What does it begin with? Yod, that's the he. And then there's that next word. This word you probably could, should, maybe, might be able to guess, no? Shabab. Shabab. And the letters there, it's a shin, vav, bet. And that bet makes a V sound. So it's shuv. Shuv means to return. You've heard of teshuvah. Teshuvah is the returning, repenting, right? It's the same. The other word that comes from that is Shabbat. Shabbat, once a week. Shabbat is, I think I even have a slide for it. Let's see. Here. Shuv is to return. Shabbat, notice Shabbat has the shin bet, that's the shuv. And then tav represents the cross. So it's Shabbat is return to the cross. Return or covenant, return to the covenant. Every 7 days you are to Shabbat. You are to return to the covenant. Okay? Oh, there it is. I made this talk a while back. I don't always remember what the next slide is. So we have he restores, and what's he restoring? My soul. That's nefshi. Notice the word nefshi ends in a yod. What happens when it's the end of a word? When the yod is at the end of a word? My soul. I'm not here to teach you Hebrew, but if I can give you little tidbits that I've picked up, it will help you immensely, okay? And we have other better points, not better, we have other good points in this talk besides tear apart every word, but some I think you should know. And this word nephesh, where did we hear nephesh? Anyone? This is way in the beginning, whenever God breathed into Adam's nostril, and he breathed the breath of life, and man became a living soul, a living being, a nephesh. Okay? So that's a living soul is nephesh, soul. And so they have nephesh with a yod on the end, nefshi, my soul. Here it is. And the Lord God formed from the dust of the earth and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living nephesh. 2:7, Genesis. All right. He leads me. I don't know the verb for leading, but I do know it begins with a yod. He leads me. And here's in the paths of righteousness. That is a mistranslation. It is not paths. And we will show you here the word you can see. Here's a mem, an ayin, a gimel, and a lamed. It's the word magal. Magal is circle in Hebrew. So he's not leading you in paths of righteousness. He leads us in circles of righteousness. Well, that's interesting. Well, you know, there's a lot of things in the Bible do kind of repeat, right? There's so many parallels between Adam and Jesus. It's like something is repeated on a circle. Last night we did Abel and Jesus. parallels. Isaac has parallels. Moses has the most parallels. So, and I've discovered that whenever the way we go through life, they are not paths. It's not like you come along and this path is righteous and this path isn't, and this one is, this one. Our life goes in circles. You know, when I'm a certain age and I'm walking through the store and I see a pack of gum and I just take the gum and put it in my pocket and keep going, and I feel guilty, and someday I'm going to circle. I'm going to go through a store again, and I'm going to pass the gum rack, and I'm going to grab gum and put it in my pocket and keep going. But sometime, the idea is that eventually we make a new circle where we're not picking up the gum and putting it in our pocket and leaving. You understand? We have that opportunity to do it right the next time. We can.
What I was going to say.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, all of these things in our life, they keep presenting themselves, and each time you have the opportunity to do it the right way or continue doing it the wrong way. And hopefully, in these circles of righteousness, you will start getting into the right one here. So you can see the word is magal. It's the word circle. I mean, there's no question. It's not paths. I would think circle, cycle, they sound like. Yeah. Yes. Yes. It could be a plural. It could be a plural. Remember, I don't know Hebrew. So we do know it's circles, though. And then the circles of tzaddik. This one I think you should know. This is a word that you hear a lot when you're reading. Tzaddik, tzaddikah, zadok. All those words are interrelated, and they all mean righteous or righteousness. The letter tzadi, which begins tzaddik, its picture represents, the letter represents righteousness. And you'll hear people's names. There was Zadok the priest. Okay, here King David in 1 Kings said, "Call in Zadok the priest." Zadok, Tzaddik. Okay, I've been thinking though, if you name your kid Zadok, is he pretty much destined to become a priest? You know, I don't know. And if you named your kid Jeeves, is he going to be a butler? Is there another job that he could possibly have? It's kind of the same concept. What else we got here? For the sake of his name, I do know that when you put a lamed in front of a word, the lamed is a prefix for for. So that is for sake. And this last word you should definitely know, shemu. Okay? And what's Shem is the Hebrew word for name. Remember when Noah had 3 kids, Ham, Shem, and Japheth? Shem, name. That's an odd name for someone's name. Yeah. Like Noah and his wife, like, what do you want his name to be? I don't know. What do you think we should name him? Oh, well, how about name? You know, it wasn't very original. And here it says Shemu. And the Shemu, it's got a vav on the end, right? And what happens with a vav on the end of a word? We talked about this last night. His. It's a suffix that means his name. And that's what it says, right? For his name. What about a vav in front of a word? And, right? You see how Hebrew works? A little bit?
It would be awesome to get a chart of like the 356 suffixes, kind of like you have the alphabet chart.
It's not as cool as you think, because I made one once, and man, it's complicated.
Maybe not cool, but
Oh,
we would love it.
huh? Well, we can try. Okay, so there's Shem down here below, Shem, and you put the vav on the back, Shemu, his name. Okay? Next. Verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. All right? There it is in the Hebrew. What do we got next? Even though I walk through this is good. Through the valley of the shadow of death. I want to talk about this word for shadow. It's the green. And this is all one word. It's selmute. And selmute is death shadow. Okay, or shadow of death. One word. It's selmute. Well, that's two separate words that were combined to make this one shadow of death. So look at each word, because both of these words are really cool, and you've heard them before if you've watched my stuff. The first one is tsal. Remember when God, in Genesis 1:26, God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness, right? So notice first, he's using plural pronouns, right? Let us. So who's us? That's God. There's the complex unity picture there. Make man. Okay, look here. This is three words. In our image. In. How do you do in? The ba in front. That's in. And our, you put an anu on the end. That's these two right here, the underlined. And so tsal, that's the core. So bet sal menu. Ba, in, tsal, shadows. Anu, in our shadow, in our, what's the word? Shadow, okay? So we are in the, it's kind of the spiritual shadow image of God. And then he says, according to our likeness. Again, three words. The two is ke. The dam is the root word, dam, blood. And then there's another anu. That's the hour. So betsel menu, kidmatenu. In English, it sounds like we're made in the image and likeness of God. Image and likeness sounds the same. What's the difference between image and likeness when you put it in English? But in Hebrew, there are two different words. We are in the tsal, we're in the shadow, the spiritual image, and we're in the dam, the physical likeness. Okay? That makes more sense. Because we know that there are these two worlds going on. In the beginning, God created the heavens, spiritual, and the earth, physical. Whenever Jesus meets Nicodemus in John 3, he says, you must be born again. He goes, what, I got to go back in my mother's womb? And no. You know, that was the physical birth, kidimatenu. You need a betsomenu, a spiritual rebirth. Okay, so there are these two going on. That's our physical. Yeah, we're in God's physical. And do I have here? Do we have Yahweh? Oh, we do have Yahweh. No, it's written in English. Do we have Yahweh written anywhere here in Hebrew? I don't see. Okay, but you're going to be able to figure this out. Look here.
Right there on the door.
Oh, okay. Okay, you stand there. Here's Yahweh, Yud Hey Vav Hey. Okay? Now remember, we are in his image. Imagine a yod on top. Here's a yod. And the yod, I'm going to write Yud Hey Vav Hey vertically. The yod is on top. That's like a little head. And below it, you put a hey. Hey looks like two arms. Yeah, you got shoulders, arm, arm. Then you have a vav you'd put below. That's the body. And then you put a hey down at the bottom. That's your two legs. So we are in God's image. If you write his name vertically, yeah, we are in the shape of Yahweh. Stick figure-ish. Okay. So, Sal means shadow. Okay? And this slide probably took 4 hours to get those shadows right, and I still wasn't great, and I thought, screw it, I'm going with this. But it worked. Okay, so that's the cell, shadow. And then you have the next word is the mute. And what does the word mute mean? You have death.
The answer's on the board.
It says death. Death. And there are a couple places you should know. This is one of those words that pop up a lot that you should recognize, death. And one of the places you'll see it is in the word emet, truth. Remember emet, aleph, mem, tav. And that's truth. Aleph is God's letter. If you take aleph out of truth, what's left? Met, death. Truth without God is death. Make sense? Here's another place you've seen mute. Methuselah. Look at his name. Here's Met. Met is death. It's followed by a vav. Metu. What happens when you put a vav after something? His death. Okay? And then you have Salah means shall bring. So Methuselah's name means his death shall bring. Which you would think Enoch, like, why would you name your kid his death shall bring? But remember, Enoch went for a walk with God, and they walked, 365 years, 300 years, I forget how many years. They did a long walk. And what were they talking about? And I think what he was telling him is, listen, Enoch, I'm going to wipe everything out. But don't worry, it's not going to affect you. In fact, you and I, we're walking. We're actually closer to my house. Come, let's just go to my house. And so he and Enoch went. And don't worry about your son either, because I'll make sure he's not going to be cut short. In fact, he really didn't make sure he got cut short. He gave Methuselah the longest life in the Bible. Okay? And in my Noah video, we do the genealogy because it gives all the ages. Whenever so-and-so was this age, he begat so-and-so. And whenever he was this age, he begat so-and-so. And you can track it all the way down to Noah. It was Noah's 500th year when he had Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And You can calculate Methuselah died, I believe, 7 days before the flood started. So his name, his death shall bring what? The flood, okay? And it's interesting that it was 7 days before, because the Jews have a tradition whenever somebody dies, they have a thing called sitting Shivas, where they sit and mourn for 7 days. So God lets him mourn for 7 days, and then the rain starts. Okay, so Methuselah, there's the shadow of death. I will fear no evil. Well, the first word is lo. What's lo? Not, no, right? This word in the middle, fear, I don't know. But I do know the word on the end is ra, resh, ayin. Ra means evil. In fact, you've heard of Pharaoh. Pharaoh is spelled pay, resh ayin, hay. If I take the pay and the hay, the first and last letter of Pharaoh, pay means mouth. And what's inside that mouth is ra. So Pharaoh's name means the mouth of evil. If you look at the 4 letters. I don't have a slide on that one, but for those who understand what I'm saying, and that was a free one. I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Okay. Rod is Shabbat, and staff is Mishanah. And I was wondering, what's the difference between a staff and a rod? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But here, what it says is your rod and your staff. So if you want Shabbat is rod, Shabbateka is your rod. And remember, this letter we added right here is a kaf. Remember, Yod is the 10th letter. Yod is a closed hand. Yod means my when it's at the end of a word. Kaf is an open hand. It means yours. So Shabbateka, you put a kaf on the end, and look at my hand here. That looks like that. Yes? So when you see that on the end of a word, it's your rod. Okay? Anybody can guess what your staff is going to be? Mishanateka. There's that cough on the end. Your staff. Okay? And I think the rod, his rod, is for correction. And his staff is for support, comfort, okay? Which is nice. He's not just giving you 2 sticks he's beating you with, you know. One is for correction, one is for... Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Look here. Notice I underline here, for you are with me. That's the part right here. Okay. By the way, this is the letter Kaf. And Kaf is one of those letters that have 2 shapes to it. If you see a Kaf like this, you see it right here? That's the normal Kaf. If it's at the end of a word, you use this shape. This letter and this letter are the same. These are the same. They just have different shapes depending if you use them at the end of the word or in the middle or beginning of the word. There are 5 letters that have different shapes. Quizzing you, anyone, which one, what are the 5 letters that have 2 forms? Mem and Noon, Sadi, Pei, and Kaf. Very nice. Oh, you're looking at your cheat sheet, aren't you? Okay. So before we go on, we're going to look at the whole thing here in English. And there's something that's been happening that maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't. Let's light up what's special. You notice here at the beginning, you see what lit up? He makes me lie down. He leads me beside still. He restores. He guides. For his name, he, his. And then you get to, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And look at the rest of the verse. Your rod, your staff, you prepare, you anoint. The whole thing changes from, like, he's talking third person God, and now he's addressing God second person. Did you ever notice that? But it really did. It does change. It's almost like the more David is getting into this psalm and writing it, the closer he's getting to God, because he was referring to God as he and his, and now he's referring to God as you and your. It's more personal. And that's the dividing line. For you are with me. When that happens, it changes. Okay? And he's got other stuff hidden there. Watch this. Here that is in Hebrew. Make sense? You got the top part, you got you are with me, and then you have the bottom part. So there's the top part, there's the bottom part. Notice there's a Yahweh in the top part, and there's a Yahweh in the bottom part. He's got his name down here, he's got his name at the beginning and at the end. We said he and his above, you and your below. Yahweh, we know, adds up to 26, right? Yud Hey Vav Hey. Would you believe there are 26 words above this dividing line, and there are 26 words below the dividing line? And there's order there. Okay. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint with oil my head. My cup overflows. We talked about this on the first night I was here. The word Rosh. Resh is the letter. It's the 20th letter. And Rosh means head. Resh means head. Rosh Hashanah, head of the year. Okay. So here it's Roshi. My head. Put a yod on the end, my. I might be sounding repetitious, but I think you're actually seeing it and learning it and will recognize in the future. Okay, Rosh, head, Roshi, my head. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Goodness and mercy is Tov v'chesed. These are words you will see a lot. It's 3 words here. Tov. Where do we see Tov? No.
I don't know.
Yom Tov. Good day. Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov, that's one. Yeah. And you also, Erev Tov. Yes. That whole first 7 days. It was good, it was good, it was good, 7 times. Okay? And people, the Jews will say, Boker Tov, Erev Tov. Yeah, Boker is morning. Boker Tov, good morning. Erev Tov, good evening. Lila Tov, good night. Okay? So you hear Tov, Mazel Tov, good fortune. Okay? And that whole Creator Week. So it's goodness. Va is and. Chesed. Chesed is loving kindness. Okay? And that word creeps up a lot in the Old Testament. So just recognize it here. Chesed. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me. That word here is radaf. And it's not will follow me. That's a bad translation. It means to pursue or chase or persecute. It's like, here's some examples of where you'll see radaf. Proverbs 21:21. One who pursues righteousness and loyalty finds life, righteousness, and honor. Psalm 143. For the enemy has radaf, persecuted my soul. So what does an enemy do to you? He's unrelenting, right? It's just continuous. So David inquired of the Lord, shall I pursue this group he was fighting against? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, yes, pursue, radaf, for you will surely overtake them and without fail recover all. Okay, so this radaf is like to track down like the dirty, no good, rotten dog that, we're going to find the what's that TV show where they go chasing after bounty hunters, Then Abraham divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is north of Damascus. So, you understand this? When God, surely goodness and mercy will follow me. No, when you got God, goodness and mercy is going to track you down, hunt you down. But it's goodness and mercy that's hunting you down, which is a nicer, Okay? That's nice. All the days of my life, the Hebrew word for all, you will see this a lot in your Hebrew studies, and that is this word kol. It's a kaf lamed, all. And one nice example of this that I have is, anyone know what the Hebrew word for heart is? Lev. Lev, okay? So if you put kol, all, and lev together, Kalev. It becomes one word, Kalev. Anyone know what Kalev is in Hebrew? Dog. It's dog. And if you got to know a dog is all heart, right? And that comes, yeah. And when it changes to English, Kalev, the V sound becomes a B sound, and we get the name Caleb. Okay? Caleb is Kalev. So you have a friend named Caleb, he's a dog. I didn't name him. Okay, so there's your new word there. The word for day, you should know, is yom. Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur. You've heard these before. Okay, that's day. Yud, Vav, Mem. And to pluralize it, sometimes you'll see Yam and Yamim, and here it's Yami. Again, they drop the final mem, but that's days. And that's here, see, days, all the days.
Maybe because it already had a Yud Mem in it.
I think that might be, yeah. This is how I learned, just through observation. What's crackling? The days of my life. Life is chai, right? Chai. And if you want my life, put another yud on the end. Chayi, chayai. Chai. Where have we heard chai before? L'chaim, to life. You heard that toast? L'chaim, to life. Chai. Chai. Whenever God breathed into Adam's nostrils, what is that? Something's not plugged in or something? Huh? You're not the only.
I'm just glad you did it to him too.
I assure you, all these noises are coming from the microphone. Okay. Whenever God breathed into Adam's nostrils, he breathed Chaim. You can read it. He did not breathe Chai. Chaim. What's Chaim? Lives. Right? It's plural with the Yud Mem. So I see God, he doesn't breathe into Eve's nostrils. He takes her out, fashions her. He doesn't form her, by the way. He forms Adam. He fashions Eve. There's different words. Yeah. So when he fashions her, he doesn't breathe into her nostrils. Why? Because he breathed Chaim, lives, plural, into Adam. How many? I would say billions. Yeah. So we're all getting a piece of that. Okay? And I will dwell in the house. Well, you know the word for house is bet. And what's the prefix for in? Bet. So, babet. Ba, in, bet, babet. In the house. Of the Lord, you know Lord, Yahweh. Forever is Laoreka Yamim. Yamim, we know, is days, and Laoreka is length of days. It's the way they say forever. No. Yeah. All questions submitted in writing, please. 3 weeks in advance. Okay, so now we've gone through and read as best we could in Hebrew, picking out the key words that I knew. Yeah, I can't give them all to you because you wouldn't remember them anyway. So at least we'll cover the ones that show up a lot that I've discovered in reading. Now, another thing that's in Psalm 23 is there are these redemptive names of God. Here's 7 of them. There's Yahweh Raha, Yahweh Yireh, the Lord our provider, Yahweh Shalom, the Lord our peace, Yahweh Rapha, the Lord our healer, Yahweh Tzidkenu is the Lord our righteousness, Yahweh Shammah is the Lord is there, and Yahweh Nisi, the Lord our banner. If you're going, whatever you're praying for, I would memorize these 7. And if you're going into battle, if you're going into negotiations for business, if you're going into some kind of whatever, Yahweh Nisi would be a good way to begin your prayer. You know, the Lord our banner, you go first. You fight my battle, right? If you need peace, Yahweh Shalom, address him. If you're not healthy, how about Yahweh Rapha, the Lord our doctor, the Lord our healer? These are good names, okay? If you need something, Yahweh Yireh. Okay, let's go through here. Psalm 23:1, the Lord is my shepherd. Well, there it is, Yahweh Raha, right? That's one of his names. The Lord is my shepherd. It starts right there. Let's go to the next one. There it is. It's in the same verse. I shall not want. Why? Because he's Yahweh Yireh, the Lord our provider. And where do we find that name Yahweh Yireh? Where's that from? Genesis 22. Remember Abraham takes Isaac up to sacrifice? There it is. Here it is. And Abraham named that place Yahweh Yireh. As it is said today, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. Whenever Abraham was given a ram to substitute for Isaac. Okay? So that's where that name originally comes from, Yahweh Yireh. So that's cool. David has incorporated 2 of God's redemptive names in the first verse. And remember, we only had 4 words to work with in the first verse. He makes me lie down in grass pastures. He leads me beside still waters. This tells me Yahweh Shalom, right? And where do we first hear about Yahweh Shalom? It's back in Judges 6:24. Then Gideon built an altar there to the Lord and named it Yahweh Shalom, the Lord our peace. Okay? So these names that I'm coming up with, they're all names that previous people in the Bible have used to refer to God. He restores my soul. Well, that points to Yahweh Rapha. He's healing me. Okay? And where do we first see Yahweh Rapha? This is in Exodus 15:26. And he said, if you will listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his sight and listen to his commandments and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have put on the Egyptians, for I, the Lord, am your Rapha. Yahweh Rapha. He restores my soul. He guides me in the paths of righteousness. Wait a minute. He guides me in the circles of righteousness. We've already said that. We gotta. Well, what name does that lead to? Yahweh Tzidkenu, right? The Lord our righteousness. And where do we see that? Jeremiah 33:16. In those days, Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will live in safety. And this is the name by which it will be called, Yahweh Tzidkenu, the Lord our righteousness. Remember I told you a little while ago that if you put the ending for, well, how was it? We were made in his image according, or in our, God said, let us make, in our image according to our likeness. The hour, how did we hour a word? Anu at the end. And look, here's a Sid Ken Anu. It's the Lord our righteousness. That's these last two letters. The Nun Vav is the hour. Sadiq, that's Sadiq, righteous. Our righteousness. Okay? Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. If you're with me, you are Yahweh Shammah. What is Shammah? The Lord is there. Where? There. It doesn't matter where you are, he's there. He's Yahweh Shammah. And we see that back in Ezekiel 48:35. The city shall be 18,000 cubits all around, and the name of the city from that day shall be Yahweh Shammah. The Lord is there. Okay? Isn't it cool? David's incorporated all of these names into Psalm 23. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Just preparing a table didn't scream the Lord our banner. But preparing a table in front of my enemies, that's the Yahweh Nisi. He's out front. You guys are attacking. We're eating. Thank you very much. You know? So, the Lord our banner. And we see that in Exodus 17:15. And Moses built an altar and named it Yahweh Nisi. Okay? Okay, now we've talked about God's title. We've just been naming his name, right? Yahweh Nisi, Yahweh Shammah, Yahweh Shalom. That's his name. His title is Elohim. And Elohim is spelled Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yod, Mem. Aleph, remember, is the head of an ox, strength, God. Lamed is the shepherd's crook. Just those first two, you have the strong shepherd. The first two letters, El, the strong shepherd. That's a good name for him, right? Strong shepherd. Hey is a revelation. Something is going to be revealed. And look, if you look at the letter Hey, imagine it as a house with a little open window here. And the open window, blessings are going to come in. Because if you're new to Hebrew, it's hard to what is this letter? I can't remember. Is that a Hey or a Het or a Tav? Maybe try to get little visual clues. But Hey is something will be revealed. Yod is hand. And Mem is water. So you have the strong shepherd who reveals his hand on the waters. That's his power title. This is the one you see in Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. It wasn't Yahweh Shalom doing that. It was, but he didn't refer to himself in that instance as Yahweh Shalom, the Lord our peace. No, he's creating the heavens and the earth. He's Elohim, you know, the power. He's creating the heavens and the earth. He's the strong shepherd who reveals his hand on the waters. He can control the seas with his hand. Okay? Strong shepherd who reveals his hand on the waters. Now watch this cleverness. Here's Elohim.
All there was water at that point.
Yeah. Yep. We know the Aleph represents God, the Lord, right? So here we have the Aleph, the Lord. The Lord is my Lamed. Lamed was shepherd's crook, shepherd, right? So that's cool. The Aleph is my Lamed. I shall not, hey, behold, blessings are coming. I shall not want. He yod, he leads me beside still mem. So he's woven his title in Psalm 23. Okay, where's our math people? Get ready. Here's the math portion of our show.
One night was not enough.
Well, you're getting more. You know, a perfect triangle, you need a certain number of dots. 3 will make a triangle. If you want a bigger one, you add a bottom row. Add 3 to the bottom, you get 6. Add 4 to the bottom, you get 10. You understand, you just add a bottom row, it gets the next bigger triangle. And they're perfect triangles, right? Okay. And here's the first 9 perfect triangles. I've shown you this before and before. Elohim, if I put the gematria values in, are you all familiar with gematria? Yes? You've been in? Okay, every Hebrew letter has a value, and Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, and they run 1 to 10, and then they jump 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300, 400. So I'm going to put the gematria values in. Aleph 1, Lamed 30, Hey is 5, Yod 10, Mem 40. And by the way, Yod is 10. Yod, what's Yod represent? Hand and 10 fingers. So it's easy to remember. Yod, hand, 10. Okay. But notice, if I add up the first 3 letters of his name, if I add up the first 3 letters of his title, Elohim is his title, Yahweh is his name. And you know, you got to, does it matter if I get those mixed up? Yes, it matters. You know, one is a title, one is his name. So I slip once in a while. We shouldn't. But those first 3 letters of his title add up to 36, which is a perfect triangle number. And if I take the 3 middle letters of his name, it adds up to 45, which is a perfect triangle number. If I take the last 3 of his name, it adds up to 55, which is a perfect triangle number. It's letting you know that there is a threeness to him, okay? I don't like to use the T word, so what I usually say is a complex unity. He's one, he's a unity, he's one God, but his oneness is a little more complex than just our one. His one has a threeness to it, okay? And it's not a stretch for that to occur, because we know God is holy, and what does holy mean? It's set apart, unique, nothing else like it. So if God is going to be one, his one is going to be set apart, different, nothing else like it than any other one, right? And his one just happens to also have a threeness to it. And it kind of shows up in his Elohim here, okay? And here's the 55. By the way, if you want to make, here's how you get it, right? It's 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. And if you want to add another row, what are you going to add? 11. And a 66 is a perfect triangle number. Make sense? And if you want to add another row, it's 12, 78. Add 13, you get 91. These are all perfect triangle numbers. And there's only certain numbers that are perfect triangle numbers. 105. Keep that one in mind.
105.
Thank you. 105, you might see it later. If you play your cards right. 120 is a perfect triangle number. 136. The next one is 153. Ooh, there's a magic number, right? 153. By the way, Julie Lawson, I've been working on finishing that John fishing trip talk, which I said I was probably going to cancel this week. Yes, there is. And we're going to do that talk. Yeah, I think it's Saturday night we're doing that one. Okay. Okay. So now we're back to the whole verse in Hebrew. Okay. And I'm going to take this verse and I'm going to just move it over here. So it's all justified over on the right-hand side. Okay. How many verses are in Psalm 23? 6. How many first words are there? If there's 6 verses, there's probably 6 first words. Okay? And there they are. Yahweh was the first word of that verse. First word, first word, first word, first word. There are 6 first words. Total number of first words, 6. 6. I remember 6 is one of those perfect triangle numbers. So I should be able to take the first 6 words and put them into a perfect triangle. That's nice. Okay. Good. Okay. Now let's go back. The total number of first word letters. How many letters are in all the first words? Well, in this word, there's 4 letters. Here I see 1, 2, 5 letters, 4 letters, 2 letters, 4 letters, 2 letters. I get 21 letters total in my first words. Yes? 21. Let me think. 21. 21 was a perfect triangle number. So, I should be able to put all these letters in there. And here it is. Look. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, Bet, Nun, Aleph, Vav, Ta. There's 22 letters. 22 letters. No, 22. 21 letters forms a perfect triangle. All the first word letters fit in there. That's kind of neat, huh? Okay. Because I don't think David sat and said, I'm going to write this beautiful psalm for the Lord. And then he goes, no, can't use that word because I want the letters, I want it to be perfect. He wasn't thinking about that. He's just writing. The total number of words in Psalm 23. Well, the first sentence had 4 words, right? And this verse had 7, 15, 10, and 12. The total number of words is 55. 55. Wait a minute. Yep, 55. 55 was a perfect triangle number. So I should be able to take that perfect triangle, and each triangle in a little here, I can replace it with a word. The Psalm 23 forms a perfect triangle. That's nice, huh? Okay. The total number of letters in the Psalm. Well, this verse has 13, 30, 30, 53, 39, 45. Total number of letters, 210. 210. Wait a minute. I just want to show you, 210 has some other things about it, and that is, it's 3 times 7, 21, times 3 plus 7. That's 10. 21 times 10. So you got your 3s and 7s in there, right? But I will let you know that 210 is a perfect triangle number. So every letter of Psalm 23 can fit in there and form a perfect triangle. Isn't that cool? So was that all planned? I don't think so. I think it's God's Spirit directing his hand, okay? Huh? He's a mathematician. So, all right. So that concludes the talk. Wait, we have a bonus. And here's the bonus. I told you that David's name adds up to 14, right? And we showed you triangle numbers earlier. The first one had 3. Then the second triangle had 6. The third one had 10, 15, 21, right? So I wonder how many, because David's name adds up to 14, how many dots are in the 14th triangle? I know the first one has 3. The second has 6. The third has 10. The fourth has 50. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going back to show them. Oh. Where is it? There. The first triangle has 3. The second has 6, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. If the ninth has 55, the 10th, how many dots are in the 10th? How many dots are in the 11th? Wrong button. Man, that's the wrong button. How do I undo that? I don't even know. Oh. So that's the 10th triangle. That's the 11th. That's the 12th. That's the 13th. The 14th triangle has 105 dots. And David's name, remember, added up to 14. So I wonder if David's name adds up to 14, what is the 14th triangle number? The 14th triangle number has 105 dots. Okay, so what do I do with that? The gematria, the total gematria of Psalm 23. Now, the gematria, here's your paper, right? Aleph is 1, mems are 40, tuvs are 400. Go through the entire, and put them all in. You will come up with 13,440. By the way, I did it. It works. Okay? I don't ever tell you something that I didn't sit at home and count. Okay? It takes a lot of time. And by the way, 13,440 can break down. It's 105 times 128. There's my 105, which means I can put every one of these triangles can become 128. Make sense? Who knowed me? Oh.
Add up 128 105 times.
And 128 is 2 to the 7th. So that's just another neat way to show you there is order in Psalm 23, right? The number of words, the number of letters, the number of first words, the number of gematria, everything becomes perfect triangle. Okay? Clever, huh? And I believe that is the end. Yes. Okay, now we're way early. But I have another little, maybe a 10-minute fun, if you want to. It's Hebrew related. So go ahead, set up. And I'm going to close this and open the other one. What happened here? This close, this open. Go back to the beginning. Yes. I can do mine first. Yeah, you're asking the wrong people. Oh, talk amongst yourselves. I don't care. I get paid whether I talk or not. Okay. Years ago, just a couple years ago, Benjamin Netanyahu is running for prime minister, okay, or running for, that's not how you run for prime minister, you run for a seat and then get voted in. But anyway, so he put out this ad, and I don't know if you've seen the ad. It's in Hebrew, and it has some English subtitles that I put in. And I thought it would be fun to watch the ad, because it's very clever and very funny. It's only a minute long, and I'm going to drag it out to about 10 or 15 minutes. Because just some of the words in the ad with the subtitles, you should know from what we've watched, okay? And we'll watch the whole ad at first, but I just screenshotted each scene and put in the words, okay? Then we'll go back and watch. So you have a couple, and they're in front of the bathroom mirror, and they're prepping and primping because they're about to go out. And the only word I know here is mommy, mem, aleph, mem, yod, mommy, okay? When did you order the babysitter? I will say this, look at this. When did you order? I think this is order. Et, that's aleph tav. And what does the aleph tav do? It points to the direct object of the verb. The verb is order. Order what? Whatever follows aleph tav, which is a babysitter, okay? And I maybe see baby in here. Bet, yod, baby. Okay. And she says, we're late. And then ding dong. So they run to open the door. And they say, wow, Mr. Prime Minister. He's standing at their door. What an honor. They're just shocked. What is he saying? Ma. Yeah. What are you doing here? There's another ma. What are you doing here? Did you order a babysitter? You got a babysitter. Because he's Benjamin Netanyahu, they call him Bibi Netanyahu. You got a babysitter. Where are the children? And he just walks right in. It's much funnier when you know what they're saying in the Hebrew. And I want to show you this word, where are the children? What's the hey in front? The. What's the yud mem on the back? Plural. Plural. And so the key word for child is that. The, plural, and that word is yeled. Yud, lamed, dalet. Can you see a yud? You see the lamed, the tall one, and a dalet. Yeled is child. Yeledim, children. Ha-yeledim, the children. Okay? And now, I don't have a slide for this, but it is very cool, and that is yeled. Yeled is a yud. How much is yud? 10. Lamed is 30. So that's now at 40. And dalet is 4. So child adds up to 44. Does anyone not know how I got that? Yod is 10, lamed is 30, dalet is 4. 10, 30, and 4, 34. 44, sorry, 44. What's the word for father? Abba, Aleph, Bet. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, father adds up to 3. Mother in Hebrew is Ema. Ema is Aleph Mem. Aleph is 1. Mem is 40. So Ema, mother, adds up to 41. So you take a mother, 41, and a father of 3. Together you get 44, a yeled. Okay? You... Yeah. So you can't, Mary has 2 mothers. 41 and 41. No, it doesn't work. You can't get a yeled out of 82. You know, or Billy has 2 fathers. Doesn't work. You need a Ema and a Abba. 44 to get a yeled. Okay? I don't have a slide for it, but this is just I want to start teaching you what little bits of grammar and how Hebrew fits together so you can do this without calling me a fly home every year. No. Okay, so where are the children? And he just walks right in like he, you know. And she says, but you're the prime minister. Will you take care of the children for us? What an excellent question for a politician, right? Because you want that politician to take care of the future and the children. And here again is the children. There's Ha-Yeledim, all right? And he says, look, it's either me or Tzippi and Bougie. Tzippi is Tzippi Livry. She's a very, very left-wing Israeli politician who thinks that she can become prime minister or tries, but hasn't yet. Yeah. So she's one candidate, and the other guy, Bougie, that's his nickname. It's Isaac Herzog. He's just an old guy who, his nickname is Bougie. So those are the 2 people running against him. And so, you know, are you sure you can babysit our children? Are you going to take care of our children? Well, hey, it's either me or Tzippi and Bougie, you know? So it'd be like Donald Trump saying, it's, hey, either vote for me or Joe Biden and Barack Obama, like give the two worst examples. Here's Tzipi, Tzadi, Yod, Pei, Yod, Tzipi, and Va, and there's Bougie. And they're like, no. We don't want Tzipi and Bougie. And he said, Bougie? Our kids need to take care of him. And by the time we get home, we won't have a home. Because Bougie, he likes to give away stuff, So that's the interpreter, the message that they're hiding in here. By the time we get home, there won't be nothing left. He will even hand over the carpets, And Sippy. And she's like, oh, please. Sippy. 2 hours. Sippy, her thing is, today she's with this group because this group is popular. And then tomorrow there'll be another group. They got a different issue. She's done with that group and she's over at this group. And then this group makes a noise, so she tries to make everybody happy and then make nobody happy, And she's just bouncing. Picture Elizabeth Warren. Whatever cause of the day, she's for it and doesn't hang around any one cause. So they're saying, Zippy, 2 hours in one place. I will tell you, I know this word, makom. Here's ba in front. What's ba? In. And this word makom, it's a mem, kuf, vav, mem. That word is the word place. And in the Bible, that's one of God's names. They call him Hamakom. I don't know exactly where. It's in one of my talks. I think it's in the Mem talk. But that's one of the things that he is called Hamakom, the place. Because he's everywhere. He's whatever place you are, God is in that place. So that has nothing to do with this talk, but there is that word, Hamakom. And that is one of the names of God in the... Okay, and what's this last word? Aleph, Chet, Dalet. Echad, which means one. You hear that in the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. And so it's Hamakom Echad, in one place. Words you know, but you don't ever stop to look at them in the Hebrew. And I thought this would be a fun way to spot some words that you know and learn a few others and get a good laugh from the video. So she's saying, Tzippy, you're going to be 2 hours in one place? She's bouncing from place to place. How's she going to babysit for 2 hours? It won't never happen. And he says, by the time you get back, she'll have been moved to the neighbors. She'll go and do another, it's always something different for her. And then he says, in the upcoming elections, you choose who will take care of our children. Isn't this a good ad? In the upcoming elections, only the Likud votes. And then it goes off, and they have some little announcement. And then it comes back to the apartment, and they're coming back from their date. And they walk in and say, Shalom. And Netanyahu, he's watching TV. The kids are now in bed. He's got his blanket and his popcorn. And he's actually watching, you'll see in the video, he's watching his own speeches. But in just loving it. And when they walk in and say, Shalom, he says, oh, but not unconditional. Which is a huge thing because everybody's saying to Israel, make peace, make peace. And it's not, oh yes, you have to give away the West Bank and you have to give away the Golan Heights and you have to give away the 1967 and then you'll have peace. No. Yeah, I'll give you peace, shalom, yeah, but not unconditional. And then this banner comes on. And this banner you should be able to read. Here's Ha. There's the Lamed. Yeah, it's a. Yeah. Yod, Kaf. Vav is the U and a Dalet. So it's Ha Likud. That's the name of the party. Okay. What's this word on top? Bereshit. You should know that one. Bereshit means beginning. And this word here? That's Netanyahu. Noon, Tav, Noon, Yod, Hey, Vav. Netanyahu. And the Likud is headed by Netanyahu. Okay? So now we're going to watch the ad. It's a minute, 20 seconds. It's in Hebrew. It does have the English subtitles. But this is their face expressions, and now that you know what's going on, it's a much funnier ad. And that took 15 minutes. That was good. We're going to get out early.
ממי, למתי הזמנת את הבייביסיטר? אנחנו מאחרים.
אוי, ראש הממשלה. איזה כבוד. מה אתה עושה פה?
הזמנתם בייביסיטר? קיבלתם ביביסיטר. איפה הילדים?
אבל אתה ראש הממשלה. אתה תשמור לנו על הילדים?
תראו, זה או אני, או ציפי ובוז'י.
לא. בוז'י, הילדים שלנו צריכים לשמור עליו.
אז עד שנחזור לא יהיה לנו בית.
הוא אפילו ימסור את השטיחים. וציפי?
ציפי, שעתיים במקום אחד.
עד שתחזרו, היא בטח כבר תעבור לשכנים. בבחירות הקרובות, אתם בוחרים מי ישמור על הילדים שלנו. בבחירות הקרובות, מצביעים רק הליכוד. די, ציפי.
שלום.
לא בכל תנאי.
Excellent. Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us out tonight. Thank you so much for all that you've hidden in there and that you're revealing to us. It's so cool to see. We ask you bring us safely back tomorrow night for the Shabbat. And we always pray for the peace of Jerusalem. In Yeshua's name, amen.